fly. And your family. You go first.
That's why.
Okay, guys.
I don't hear about my story.
F-100s, F-4s, F-5s, but I have a question. Who was the guy at Vance who had the stuck mic and he was cussing out this guy in the T-38 in front of him?
Had to be Kirkland.
And the guy in front of him was Colonel Little.
Very little.
Yeah, if he came back to the briefing, I remember it was somebody in our class or close to it, because he came back in there and he said, son, you have a problem with this airplane, you can get a stuck mic. He said, you need to be careful of who you're cussing out.
Oh, that's very gracious.
A little bit about, if you want to, your family and so on. How many kids you have, your grandkids?
We got the one kid, no grandkids.
Okay.
Flew, retired 21, flew corporate for 25 years as the Christmas helper. 27. We're totally retired, here we are.
Okay. You want to add anything, or no?
Yes, I'm sure.
He was 27.
Okay.
Because he was gone 75.
Go this way. Mike?
Hey, folks, I think all the glasses are charged. All
Okay.
the guys would stand up and, Raleigh, would you like to propose a toast for us? Raleigh, would you propose a toast? You look like a preacher, I want you to.
I wish you'd give me a heads up on this.
Nah, no cheating.
I guess I'll tell a quick story about Tommy Byer. We went up there, I don't know, 8 or 10 of us that went up to the funeral. It was December of 2010, and it was 19 degrees. That was not counting the wind factor, which the wind was blowing about 30 knots. And we're out at the graveyard, and they had arranged this flyby. So we're all thinking, you know, that there are going to be, you know, about 4 F-15s come over 50 feet and do the missing man and all that thing. And we're all standing there shivering, and I'm trying to hide behind Kendall so I can, you know, break the wind and stay warm. But it was just really, really cold. And then, you know, we're waiting and waiting and waiting, and finally this B-52 comes over at about 1,500 feet, and it does this little, you know, and it was like, you gotta be shitting me. This is the best you can do for a guy that's been in the frickin' jungles for 42 years. This is the best you could do. A little later on that evening, Tommy arranged for us to have a cocktail party with the Byer family, and we're all sitting around there and we're telling our memories of Tom because his 2 children had no memories of him whatsoever. And just to embellish that a little bit, the night before his high school class got together, and I'm going to get Whitey's disease here in a minute, but his high school class got together and they were telling stories about Tommy. And the children, of course, are just enthralled because they didn't even know their father. And Karen did such an admirable job of raising the children and staying single and all that. So came our night, and we all shared a little bit. Tommy had some mementos for him. Each of us had a little, I hesitate to call it a pearl of wisdom, but we told the story. And then Karen got up and she said, I just want to say something about the flyover. Tommy would have hated it.
Like Karen.
He said Tommy despised the B-52. And just as a note, unknown to me, but Tom was to be the youngest aircraft commander of a B-52 in the history of SAC. And when he volunteered to just whatever it took to get out of there, of course he wanted to be a Zoomy, and they ended up making him a FAC. So,
Okay.
Absent friends.
God love Tommy Byer and keep him safe.
Here.
Scott.
Oh, yeah.
Is that good?
Is that good?
Okay, let's keep going here, we'll be here all
Good.
night.
So I guess we'll have to go buy another bottle.
Okay, we're going on with our wifey.
I am standing, actually. Well, real brief, I was operating on F-105, F-101, F-106, RAF Lightning, the F-4, and the F-16. So very blessed to be fortunate to fly all these airplanes, and 23 years in the Air Force, retired and went to the civilian world. With an aviation company, we had a contract with the Navy and the Air Force flying Learjets. Then I really, a fighter pilot, started up a home healthcare company. That was really smart. It just kind of fits right in. And had a transportation company. And despite all that, I still have a great life. 50 years, September the 5th, and I'll have a drink for her.
Good. Hey.
I have 3 children, 4 grandchildren, and we're all speaking still and all that. So
Thanks, Mike.
Standing on my feet.
Yeah.
well, that's cheating. I didn't want them to know it's cheating.
Well, after we graduated, I thought it was really cool being Lieutenant Rick was my instructor. Lieutenant teaching us how to fly. So I plowed back in, became a T-37 instructor. The time I crewed there was good for me in the future for other jobs and all that kind of thing, but I kind of wish I'd done it another way. But anyway, after that, SPADs, a short tour in Vietnam, came back, F-100s, then the 105s, teaching in McConnell. This is all Guard and Reserve time. And then we downgraded to the F4 for a couple of hours. I say that facetiously because my last tour of duty was an A-10 skipper at Dickie Goober up in Kansas City. And so we did that for a couple of years. And then up to the Pentagon and worked at the XOOTT fighter ops for the Air Force as an assistant to the reserves there and all that. And personally, I found out I was an operator, not a handshaker and all that kind of stuff, so I blew off that opportunity, retired after 23.5 years. I got lucky, got hired at, I thought I got lucky, and I got hired at TWA, and that didn't work out very well, and I called Whitey at the first reunion we had at Park City. This is where things got really close. It started when I was in Vietnam. I got visited in a hospital by Dave Webb, and then Whitey got me a job here at Southwest Airline, and I met a lot of fine people tonight. And so I think that's what we're all about. And so I just want to say thank you for the experience, and I think we'll always be tight as we go forward. I've learned more about you guys since I've been here. Believe it, you know, we didn't talk shop, war stories when we ask about it, but it's really fun getting to know everybody, so thank you very much.
Thanks, Ed. Of course, Ed and I bummed around together. I upgraded Ed to captain, by the way. So,
Was it hard?
Last flight.
was it?
Was it difficult?
Well, it was probably, I'm not going to say it. we enjoyed our time together.
Were you a practicing captain when you did it?
He was practicing. He hadn't upgraded yet. Dan?
Well, I got out of the service in '67 and went to work at Lockheed, building F-16s, F-111s, F-22s, and retired 20 years ago.
Wow.
Couldn't wait to retire.
Well, you, go ahead. Go ahead.
Kids, dogs,
Yeah.
cats?
Family, you got family here?
And my wife Carol and his daughter who lives in Frisco.
Okay.
5 grandkids.
I'll keep it busy. There was nobody from Texas in our group, but now there's, I think, 6 that live here in Texas.
How many?
We got, what,
6
10 grandkids?
Six transplants.
There's all 10 altogether.
Bill?
15 grandkids.
I was envious of Bill. I think he became an American airline pilot right out of college.
Great.
I don't have much to say, but I want to thank all you people for helping Linda and I, the prayers and the thoughts, getting us out of the tornado. So that's about all I have to say. I don't have many stories to tell.
Yeah.
Dave Webb over there can probably tell more about me than anybody. I came in there at Vance, I came in one evening, I've been flying with Captain Kirk and a couple of sorties, I think. You know, after flying with him, you're pretty tired. So I crawled in old Bob's bed over there, I didn't want to mess mine up. And about, I guess about 4 o'clock in the evening, and I went to sleep. About the time I hit the bed, and next thing I knew, I opened my eyes and it was dark. And I watched, my God, it was 6 o'clock. I had a 5 o'clock briefing down at the flight line at 5 in the morning. I jumped in that old Studebaker, I went down to the flight line, there wasn't anybody in there. There was a janitor in there, and I said, "Where in the world's everybody in?" He said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, I come down here for a briefing, 5 o'clock, and I'm a little late." He said, "Well, that's 5 o'clock in the morning." I said, "You mean this is afternoon yet?" He said, "Yes, it is." He said, "When you get ready to go fly again, let me know, because I want to hide."
Thanks. Those of you that may not have known, Bill and Linda live in Granbury, and it was probably a year and a half ago or so they had a bad tornado go through and it hit their house directly.
Tom down here started the ball rolling, on that deal with us. And,
Yeah.
I appreciate it. We really appreciate
Well,
it.
you're one of our classmates.
Yes, sir.
We're all one. I think this class probably we're really I don't call it tight, but I think of all the readings and everything I've done, our class is the most is the closest. My view on it, and I think we all kind of share that. Raleigh? You already gave half of yours.
Well, I'll just start out with saying the best thing ever happened in my life's right here. It's the only, pardon the pun, but it's a Peter principle. I got to my level of incompetence and Diane accepted me. We have 4 children, 12 grandchildren. I had a splendid career and was privileged to work for Delta Airlines for 32 years. 6 of the fellows in here, including Bill Gibbons, ended up at Delta, so I felt privileged to do that. I feel very privileged to be here among you gentlemen this evening. I was telling Diane last night, before I took my hearing aids out, I always say, "You have any final words for me?"
I never know if this will be the last.
You don't call me Sparky for nothing. At any rate, I was saying to her, I said, it's been 50 years. And God knows we've all got 50 years of wear and tear on us, but I defy anybody to go around this room and tell me that there's been any personality changes in anybody. up into and including old Gabby over here. But I think I want to take a little of my time just to pay tribute to a couple of fellows in here that are too modest to take credit for what they've done. Correct me if I'm wrong, I understand that you were the first F-16 wing commander. Is that correct? The first wing commander of the brand new F-16 Lawn Darts was our friend right here.
I was in the initial category of this
And if he'd had better pilots, he'd have probably had a couple of stars, but he became lawn darts, and I think he kind of took it slow. And Eddie Kirkpatrick here is a war hero. I'll just leave it at that, that he did what you and I would only ever dream of doing. And I understand Dick Gooch is a Silver Star.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Two silver stars.
2 Silver Stars. How many anybody else in here that received a Silver Star? Dick, we salute you and we thank you for surviving because 2 of your fellow comrades didn't make it. So it's been a privilege, gentlemen. I love you all, and it's been a great ride. Thank you.
Well, after pilot training, of course, started out getting checked out in the backseat of the F4, went to Holloman, and lo and behold, on Halloween Eve in 1965, 390th, along with Hal and I were in the same flight in the same squadron, the 390th Wild Boars. It took a while, but we eventually, once Pac F and 7th Air Force got their act together, sent us to the lovely place called Da Nang.
Charleston Heston was there too one time.
And John Wayne. Anyway, we flew the first four ship into Da Nang, and they pick us up in a pickup. You know, of course, the captains and majors, they're riding in a car, but the lieutenants are in the back of the pickup. Anyway, they drive us up because as soon as we get some briefings, we're going on alert down at the south end of the field. We drive up in front of the Da Nang Officers Open Mess, which says Da Nang Doom Club.
Yes.
Well, that's not a really great way to start out a tour in a place in Vietnam. Anyway, we all survived that tour. We all came back, I think except for one person, checked out in the front seat, and then we went, some of us ended up in England, and Harold and some other guys ended up at Holland, Ramstein, and so forth. Anyway, to finish up, stayed in F Force until 77, and then I got picked to upgrade in or transition to the F-15 at Bitburg, and went up there for a couple of years. Came back to stateside, and after getting promoted, ended up in some staff job, but fortunately I was able to keep instructing and so forth. Then went to spend a year in Saudi Arabia, and then went to my last duty station at Eglin Air Force Base in a retirement community called Talk down there. And after 1 year, I said, okay, hold the handle, and left the service. Ended up back over to Saudi Arabia a couple of years work for Boeing. They were sitting up there at AWACS and Transit Program. Knew nothing about either one of those.